African leaders will head to St. Petersburg at the end of the month for the Russia-Africa Summit, the second of its kind. The event will focus on enhancing cooperation in such areas as development, security and peace, even as Moscow persists in its aggression against Ukraine. International summits involve an element of political theater, analysts say, and African attendance will be a measure of success for the St. Petersburg gathering.
So I think there'll be a lot of focus on who attends. And last time in 2019, when the world looked very different, before the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, there were 43 African heads of state that went to Sochi for the 2019 summit.
Russia's invasion of Ukraine has led to higher food and oil prices for many African nations.
They're under a lot of pressure with what's happening in Ukraine and the ramifications of the conflict there, which is commodity prices, particularly for Africans, but also everything that is happening with Wagner and so on. So this is an opportunity for Russia to try to assert its place on the global stage as well.
And trade will likely be a major topic of discussion.
I think there will be talk about trade. Russia's trade with Africa is really negligible. China and the EU are by far much bigger trading partners with Africa.
Russia is also looking to get around sanctions imposed by the US and its allies.
No African countries have imposed sanctions on Russia, and so it's a lucrative market for it. We saw a similar pattern after the invasion of Georgia in 2008 and the first invasion of Ukraine in 2014. As Western markets closed to Russian business, they sought markets elsewhere. And of course, Africa, Latin America, Asia were areas where they did seek to expand.
The UN General Assembly in February passed a resolution demanding that Russia end the war and leave Ukrainian territory. While 141 countries voted in favor, 2 African countries voted against it and 15 abstained.
I mean, Russia benefited from that. In the sense that it showed them like they have friends. It's simply an awakening on the African part, but particularly sending a message to the rest of the world that we also have our own foreign policies, and those reflect our interests, our national interests.
Dizolele adds, however, that the optics of one country summoning the leaders of an entire continent undermines Africa's efforts to assert itself on the global stage. Mariama Diallo, VOA News, Nairobi.